Hi.
Hi.
We were just laughing our asses off because we're gonna talk about very uncomfortable things.
Yeah,
And
not a fun subject at all. I don't think it's our favorite subject, although
it's not very light.
no.
It's so that's why we're laughing. We're defending against the shadows. So what I just said, what I just said to Mike that I want to talk about is so last night we had an encounter with our wounded selves. We I don't even think it was properly a fight. It was just like a trigger moment. I don't even know what we would call them. But sometimes Mike and I have these things where they're not even a fight, but they're like deeply hurtful for both of us now. And to some degree, I would say boring because we've been having them again and again throughout the years. And it's always the same trigger, it seems, and the same wound. And I want to address one part of it, which concerns me. And that part is that my attachment, I'm like a mix in the attachment styles, but one of the predominant ones is the avoidant dismissive one. When I was growing up, my mom was like rather controlling, and she is, I believe, a codependent person. So she's like, I come from an enmeshed family, and it was like the unity and all together, and the group was more important than the individuals. So I've come to believe that if I commit to a relationship, I will be dissolved, and the relationship will swallow me whole. So
No, I'm just breathing. I hadn't breathed yet. I was holding my breath.
So, so yes, I struggle with committed relationships, and that's hard for me to admit in this video and to my husband of almost 10 years. It would sound incompatible, but here we are, still choosing to be together and making videos about our difficulties. Mike has detected this thing that I have or that I do where I like try to keep some space inside of myself, where like I'm not in the relationship, or if it gets hard or too challenging, then I have like a place, even if it's just like a fantasy, where I go in my mind where there's no longer a relationship. And in my brain, in my dysregulated brain, there's no more problem, right? There's no more difficulty. And I would like to ask my husband what it's like to be married with someone that has that not so charming characteristic, and what does it trigger in you? Why are you still with me?
All right. Yeah, sorry, we didn't rehearse this one. Or talk about it prior. This one's more organic. It's tricky. We seem to have opposing forces, although I seem to have both. Very often you get this kind of push-pull dynamic in a relationship. Someone's holding on tight, someone's pushing away, and someone's running away, someone's chasing. I seem to do both sometimes. I seem to chase and I seem to also pull away. But this particular dynamic is very often, when we're in tension or we're in conflict and you kind of pull away, go cold, kind of go hyper intellectual and kind of bye. Disconnect. But there's like different elements to this, like there's the element of, okay, well, what's actually going on between us that's creating this discomfort, that's triggering us and putting us in a position where we, we're having conflict, or we don't know if we really like each other, or, really want to be next to each other or with each other. And some of the things that we've kind of gone through have been so challenging over a couple of years that it's been very hard to kind of persist through it and keep committing like on a daily basis and find ways through, That being said, we have these kind of matching triggers, right? So your trigger is like abandonment. My trigger is abandonment, being abandoned. So, there's like ultimatums or threats. And then for me, it triggers all sorts of fear patterns. And it's generally been a bit of a mess on that level. And it's been a mess. It's been just really unhealthy. And then we kind of don't really respect each other as much, and I don't feel that you're really committed to the relationship, or you get afraid that I'm gonna think that you're, not worthy, or I'm gonna abandon you because of it, and it's almost like these deep set patterns to screw it all up. I was seeing this little clip the other day where someone was saying, that if you come from trauma and you come from unhealthy bonding, you witnessed it and you were exposed to very unhealthy, toxic bonding, your subconscious knows that as normal and safe and will sabotage your efforts to go somewhere else and have something stable and comfortable. And I've mentioned, our thought in a few different moments in our relationship that it's almost like the enemy is stability and happiness and joy, as profoundly painful as that is to kind of feel and consider. There's something that I have noticed where we'll get close and really intimate and then I'll reject you, or and then I'll reject you, or something be triggered and then you'll reject me. And what?
I'm just hearing you talk, I just realized some of the complexities in a relationship, and it's really so another thing that I deal with is perfectionism. So I was really resisting this idea of talking in front of a camera with strangers about the most intimate stuff in our relationship, and I just lost my train of thought. One of the reasons why I am doing it is because if it were up to me, I would just be quiet. Not just about this, but I wouldn't even put myself out there for anything at all, because being rejected and failing is so scary. And hearing you talk about the different things that we've gone through, it's really amazing that we are still choosing to be together, and we are working. And last night Mike mentioned we're wound mates. And it makes sense. We trigger the fuck out of each other. But
right,
now
so we are cursing then.
Oh yeah,
that's all right.
It's part of life.
Cursing that's fucking awesome.
But I want to believe that after 10 years of being together, we're approaching a stage, and this video project is a manifestation of that, where we are sort of bringing light and opening space for these fights without so much judgment, and just maybe trying to see more compassionately what's actually hurt inside of us and how we can radically heal it, in the sense that, like, going to the root, that's where the word radical comes from. I'm very fond of words and where they come from. So that's why I'm laughing, because life can be so messy, and that is something that I was not very friendly of. Like, that idea and me, we were not friends. And now that I'm in my mid-30s and we've had a relationship for a while, and now we have a bunch of kids and pets and things to take care of.
Things hanging off us.
Then I just realize how it is possible, and yeah.
Yeah, we should wrap up soon. But it's yeah, it's interesting. I mean, it's interesting to consider what it means to be fully invested in a relationship. What it means to actually, try your hardest or hard at something, and this kind of tendency towards kind of keeping a reserve or keeping a part of like an escape valve, just in case it's too hard or it's too, triggering or too whatever, and yeah, we might have to make a few videos about this, because it's kind of like juicy stuff about what really happens when we have a conflict. What part of you is showing up, and what pain is showing up, and for me as well, and there is, unfortunately, there's often just this like, okay, I don't want to feel more pain, and I don't want to feel my pain that I've been carrying for 40 years or whatever, and neither do you, and so it's like, as we get deeper and deeper and deeper, it's almost like we're turning the volume up a lot. We're a lot more sensitive to a lot of the different things. So it's like we need to deal with everything as it comes up, because we're not sweeping stuff under the rug anymore, and we're not avoiding stuff anymore. So it's right. So much more kind of work intensive and pain intensive, but it's almost like I get the impression, I'd like to, that we're getting some traction in it. Like there's a different way we're maneuvering through it, the what is the same shit, that we've been rehashing.
Well, it's like physical therapy, to get your body to work again the way it's supposed to, it hurts, it's well known that after a fracture or something, if people go to their appointment and it hurts, and it's good for them eventually, and so some of this stuff hurts. For me, some stuff in the relationship with my mom is coming up. With my dad, maybe less, so not because he was healthier, but maybe because he's already dead. But so what I'm trying to say is that even though this hurts, so many things are coming to the surface, and it feels like they don't need to live in the basement anymore and torment me from there. I can just bring them up to live with me and get to know them better, and what they're actually trying to defend me from, and how they're trying to benefit me and us. All right.
That's it for today.
Ciao.
Bye.